The Liberals will take the change out of your pocket. There's none left. That's right. It's too late. Everyone's already broke.
Welcome back to the Hard Truth Canada. As you can see, kind of changed up my appearance. Hey, I'm not liberal, okay? Let's just get that straight. New face, you know, still the same old shit. But let's get straight to it. So we all know that Paul Chiang has been in the media about putting a bounty on a fellow Canadian, a Conservative member of Parliament. And we all know that the Liberal government, Mark Carney, has said, yeah, that's acceptable. I'm okay with that. He apologized. I don't know about you guys, but I tell my kids, actions speak louder than words. Sorry is just a fucking word. Without being backed up with actions, Mark Carney telling him to hit the road? No. Mark Carney says he's not fired. I'm not firing anybody. He's going to stick around.
Look, the comments were deeply offensive. This is a terrible lapse of judgment by Mr. Chiang. He has apologized for those comments. He has apologized directly now to the person that he mentioned. Apologized directly to him yesterday. I've spoken to Mr. Chiang as well over the course of the weekend to understand his position. He is a veteran policeman. Mr. Chiang is a veteran policeman with more than a quarter century of service to his community. 28 years of defending rights in this community, and he will continue with his candidacy going forward, having made those apologies very clearly to the individual, to the community, and moving forward to serve. This is a person of integrity who's served this community, his community, as a senior police officer for, as I said, more than a quarter century. He's made a terrible lapse in judgment. He's made an apology for that. It's also an individual who has family in Hong Kong. He's under no illusions about the situation there, the situation in broader China. He's made those apologies. He's made them directly to the individual concerned. He's made them directly to me. He has my confidence. Thank you. Look, I'm deeply offended by those comments. As I said, they're a terrible lapse of judgment. I view this as a teachable moment. It underscores the respect with which we treat human rights in this country, the differences between Canadian society and other countries. This, after all, though, I will go back to the character of the individual who made a lapse judgment. This is someone who has served our community, has been on the front line of policing for almost 3 decades, and has...
We've heard enough of this bullshit. A lapse of judgment. A teaching moment. He's been in his community for 28 years as a police officer for some of those years too. Let's not forget that. So he knows damn well between right and wrong. Or at least he should. He knows the fucking law. But here, you know, he thinks it's okay? Do you think it's okay? Obviously, I don't think it's okay. I think it's unacceptable behavior. And I think Mark Carney should have fired him. The fact that Mark Carney did not fire him leads me to believe that Mark Carney is too deeply tied to the Chinese. Too deeply tied to the Chinese, in fact. If he's not going to stand up to an MP, is he going to stand up for you? I don't think so. Because he didn't stand up for a Canadian already. Oh, he apologized. He apologized. Someone threatens your life for fucking money so people can kidnap you, bring you to a consulate in one of those goddamn Chinese police stations that we have, so they can ship you back home where they're going to execute you. Or sorry, back to China, so they can execute you. What? Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Flip the roles. Could you imagine what would happen? Could you imagine? The Liberals would be going nuts. Going nuts. Imagine what they would be boycotting. Like, what the fuck, Canada? Like, I mean, thank God he has since resigned, but like,
a Liberal candidate has dropped out of the federal campaign.
He's since resigned. So let's find the video from the news. I can't remember what source this is. We'll find out.
A Liberal candidate has dropped out of the federal campaign after comments he made about a former Conservative rival. Paul Chiang, a Liberal MP running for re-election in the Toronto area riding of Markham-Unionville, told a Chinese-language newspaper, quote, "To everyone here, you can claim the $1 million Hong Kong bounty if you bring Conservative candidate Zhou Tay to Toronto's Chinese consulate." Tay, who was born in Hong Kong before immigrating to Canada, is a pro-democracy activist and has a bounty on him by Hong Kong police. Chiang now says he does not want to be a distraction and is standing aside. It came on the same day Liberal leader Mark Carney voiced support for the candidate.
Well, we all know what Mark Carney thinks about the situation. Teaching moment. Yeah. I don't have no words.
Fast forward about 12 hours later, you find out that the RCMP are now probing the issue as a result of potential foreign interference and transnational repression being involved in the commentary from Mr. Chiang. And then a few hours after that, just around midnight last night, Mr. Chiang announces he would be standing aside to avoid any distractions, is how he framed it. Mr. Carney was asked about it today, why it took so long, especially in contrast with the Conservatives, who just fired one of their candidates in Windsor-Tecumseh Lakeshore based on comments he made on a podcast back in 2022 where he supported the public hanging of a number of people, including Justin Trudeau, who was Prime Minister at the time. Carney defended his decision, again called the comments reprehensible and deeply troubling, but mentioned that they would begin looking for a new candidate. At the same time, Mr. Poilievre asked about his party's decision when it came to firing their candidate. He didn't have a long answer. He was caught on his way back to the bus. He said, "We fired him." Our reporter, Mike Lecouture, asked why. He said, "Unacceptable," but that was as far as he would go when it came to details on the decision to fire that candidate in the Windsor riding. At this point, neither one of those candidates have been replaced, both the Liberals and the Conservatives, in their new riding.
So, there you have it. He resigns, and then I guess Pierre Poilievre caught wind of one of his MPs kind of had talks in 2022, in February at some time. This guy had a podcast, but yeah, I'll show you his podcast. Anyways, here's his podcast. So it's in this episode, February 22nd. How can you listen to it? Audio file unavailable. How many followers? He's got two followers, yo. 2 whole followers. I don't even think his comments ever got heard. You know what? I could be wrong. You know. I'm not condoning, I don't think anybody should get publicly hanged. You know, there's other ways about doing things. But, fuck Trudeau, definitely. Hey, anybody seen that video of Trudeau in the grocery store? And they're like, oh, he's so proud. You can't tell me that motherfucker is proud, dude. He's a single dad now. His kids don't ever see him. He's not fucking happy, man. Like, his life went to fucking shit. can't be happy. He can't be happy. Anyways, let's jump into Mr. Mark McKenzie's death penalty comments and go from there. Oh, why did it stop recording right there? Anyways.
It's a shame the party decided to go in this direction. I mean, they knew my past. They knew that I was on the radio for 20 years, and I did disclose that I had a podcast as well. And it was a comedy podcast, and I did it at a time when, there were lockdowns and people were, unemployed. I was...
I'm going to pause it here. Do you think he disclosed? Yeah, I said Trudeau should be hung. No, I don't think he talked about that. I don't think that was ever brought up. In fact, he probably doesn't even remember saying it. I can almost guarantee you. But anyways, let's finish. Hear what he says.
I was unemployed at the time. I had been let go from my radio job, and it was a comedy podcast, and I did it to pay the bills. I did it to support my family, to support my child. And obviously, when you're a media personality, you take it to 1,000, right? You ramp it right up, and it's a character. It's a character that I played on the radio.
Maybe.
I never, at that point, even imagined about getting into politics.
I'm not faking anything.
And then, about 6 months later, then my mind had changed. Things had changed, right? And I decided to get into it. But I never imagined I would run federally either, and then here we are. So it's unfortunate that somebody's decided to pull up something from my past when I was trying to support my family during a difficult time, and obviously it was a joke and it was taken out of context. And even if you listen to the clip, we're laughing about it. It's clearly we're not being serious about it. But the Conservative Party decided it was just too much of a risk, unfortunately, and it's a shame, especially when the Conservative Party is tough on crime. They want to be tough on crime, and they've spoken out publicly about Paul Bernardo, who was mentioned in the clip that I was in as well, about why is this person now in medium security? We need harsher penalties for those individuals, those serial killers, those child predators and rapists. And so that part, I stand by. Obviously, the public hangings and things like that, I don't believe that. It was obviously a joke taken way out of context in a comedy podcast. So it's just disappointing that the Conservative Party of Canada has decided to move in a different direction.
That's almost like if I were to say I think pedophiles and rapists all should be shot in a firing squad kind of thing, you know what I mean? Maybe that's not the way to go about it, but I mean the end solution I think is fair. They all, as long as they're, in my opinion, I think all pedophiles, all rapists should just fucking adios amigo. You know what I mean? There's no need for that type of fucking people to be on this fucking earth anyways. Honestly. Maybe Trudeau should be hung, but he should definitely be investigated and put in jail. I think I'm one for the death penalty, but I like, make these motherfuckers suffer. Put them in a shithole somewhere. We gotta bring back these shitty prisons. You know what I mean? They shouldn't have fucking TVs. Well, why the fuck are we paying with them to have fucking TVs? Huh? Your rights should go out the window. You should be treated like a human, but TV, privilege. You know what I mean? All this shit is a privilege. So that's how it should be done. And to go a little bit deeper, it should be based on your crimes too. If you're in there for just some dumb shit, you know what I mean? Then maybe you should, if there's a chance for you to become better, maybe you should have access. But if you're in their life, man, if you're in there for life, I don't think you should get anything. Nothing. Just food. Food. Yeah. Don't even give them extra sheets. You know what I mean? They don't need to be making pillows out of them. Anyways, next story of the day. is going to be, where are we? Oh, I just wanted to throw this in there. This part here, this is funny. This got me laughing. Toronto Sun. The Toronto Sun. They posted a news article. Says the latest reaction to news that MP Paul Chiang stepping aside as Liberal candidate. And then they got a picture. Chiang, the bounty hunter. If you're not sitting here laughing, you got no humor inside you. It's not a laughable. Listen. It's not a laughable thing that he did. It's quite fucking serious. But this image right here, that's good. That's good. That's good. I've seen this thing where Danielle Smith is live, so I haven't really, or she was live, it's not live now, but I haven't watched this yet, so we're gonna go ahead and see what she has to say. The title is Alberta Premier taking questions. The title of the story is she has a mandate to try to fix Canada. So I'm not sure what they're trying to poke at, what their narrative is here. I believe it's CTV again. So let's go ahead and see. Let's see what she has to say. Maybe we could break down the narrative.
Two issues which are kind of interconnected. One is the trade corridor discussion, and the other one is the tariffs. How would any new trade or energy corridors actually help Alberta during this time of tariffs? And separately but connected to it, what do you expect to see from the U.S. administration tomorrow when it comes to tariffs?
I'll finish with the last one first. It's hard to predict the U.S. president, and I don't really want to get ahead of myself because I don't want to you never want to be wrong, but my inclination from what I've heard from different different administration officials is that it looks like it's just going to be sectoral application for the most part, and then they talk about reciprocal tariffs, and so we don't have any tariffs on their oil and gas, so I'm assuming that means that they're not going to have tariffs on our oil and gas. I think for the bulk of our food production, with the exception of supply management, I think we also don't have tariffs, so I would expect that our food production should also be tariff-free. He's quite clearly concerned about the auto sector, pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, steel, aluminum, and timber and supply managed industries, so I'll be watching to see what that looks like there. But we've been making the argument that raw materials and intermediate goods should not be tariffed at all, because those go into making value-added products. And I'm hopeful. That's what I'm hoping to see tomorrow. But we really just won't know until we see the result. They seem to be. I've been saying this from the beginning. They seem to be really irritated by national sales taxes because, of course, the Americans, although they have state and local sales taxes, they don't have a national sales tax. So if you read any of the work of the economists advising the president, it seems like that our GST, or harmonized sales tax, is what they really look at as a form of tariff. It isn't, but that's how they're looking at it. So that's maybe where it might end up falling, is if they're going to try to put a border adjustment tax in that's equivalent to that. That would be what I'll be looking for tomorrow.
Who's ready to put Canada first for a change? Who's ready to axe some taxes? Who's ready to build some homes? Who's ready to build some pipelines? And who's ready to bring home change to the country we love? Wow, quel excellent gros. Oui, bring it home. Wow, yeah. Look at this crowd. Look at this crowd, incredible. And it's not just, I need you as well. What a guy. Thank you. Just for that, you get a shirt. There you go. There you go. Thanks for that. A great patriot. Look at this crowd. Incredible. I think that New Brunswickers are ready to put Canada first. What do you think? Ready for a change. Thank you. I love you too. So it's not just the quantity of people, it's the quality. Look at these. These are incredible people. Very good-looking crowd. Patriotic, strong, optimistic. Look at those smiles. People feel hopeful again. They see hope on the horizon. They want to bring home the promise of this country. La promesse du Canada. Le fier drapeau canadien. That is the Canadian promise. That anyone who works hard can have a great life in a beautiful house on a safe street, protected by brave troops under a proud flag. That's what it means to put Canada first. And that's why we're running. Because after the lost Liberal decade, here's the question. After the lost Liberal decade of rising costs and crime and a falling economy under the thumb of the Americans, do we want to elect the Liberals for a fourth term? Or do we want to put Canada first for a change with a new Conservative government that will axe taxes, build homes, and make our country strong? Change. Who wants change? The Liberals will take the change out of your pocket. There's none left. That's right. It's too late. Everyone's already broke. But they're pulling a fast one again, aren't they? After the last Liberal decade, they want you to forget that they doubled housing costs, that they drove up food prices 37% faster in Canada than in the United States with their carbon tax on the farmers and truckers who bring us the food. They want you to forget that they drove 25% of Canadians into poverty. They want you to forget the crime, chaos, drugs, and disorder, the 50,000 blessed souls that we lost to drug overdoses because of their radical liberal ideology on drugs. They want us to forget that they blocked pipelines and mines and drove hundreds of billions of dollars out of our country into the United States, making us helpless against the unjustified threats of Donald Trump. They want you to forget all of that, and the trick they're employing is replacing Justin Trudeau with his economic advisor and hand-picked successor, Mark Carney. Now, it is, as Atlantic Canadians will tell you, it might be a new face at the helm, but it's the same ship, the same Liberal ship, the same Liberal crew, the same broken down Liberal boat, the same sinking ship that's going straight down. That is not change, my friends. That is more of the disastrous status quo that Canadians want to leave behind. It's the same Liberal ministers, same Liberal MPs, same Liberal promises, same Liberal results if you elect them for a fourth Liberal term. The only difference is that they now have an even weaker and more compromised leader than they had before. Mark Carney has already demonstrated that he's prepared to sell out our country for his own self-interest. He moved his corporate headquarters from Canada to the United States just 6 days after Trump threatened our economy with tariffs. He could have pounded his fist on that mahogany desk at that boardroom meeting and said, Donald Trump is threatening Canada and I won't back down. I'm keeping the jobs in Canada. But instead he chose his profit before his patriotism, and Canadians will never forget it.